All right, guys, welcome to Autodesk Inventor introduction number 3. All right, tutorial number 3. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to open in a pre-existing file. All right, so the number 9 you made last time in the last video, we're going to bring that in. I'm going to show you a couple things and how we're going to do some things we're going to do with that. All right, we're going to open an IDW drawing file. We're going to place views, multi-view, and isometric views. We're going to scale those views. We're going to change the appearance of those views, and then we're going to dimension those views. All right, and if we have time at the end, what we'll do is we'll add in multiple sheets, and I'll show you what that is in a couple minutes. All right. So first thing, make sure you get Inventor open. Remember, it's that orange icon. So here's your application menu. What we're going to do is we're going to open that pre-existing file. So I'm going to go to application menu. I'm going to hit open. I'm going to find my file. Right. This is another one of those things. Remember, you want to make sure you save your files in the right spot. You want to make sure you label them correctly, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to open up number 9. And while this is opening up, when we do this IDW, which we're going to do in a couple minutes, you got to make sure you save the IDW in the same file that you save the part file or the IPT. Right? If you don't do that, then the computer's going to have a hard time finding the file, and things are going to get a little messed up. It's just safe to always save the same project or the same shape, whatever you're working on, in the same file. All right. So here's the number 9 that you made last time. So we did all this kind of stuff. A little review, project browser on the left side. You can edit things if you need to edit things, you need to change things, you need to change things. All right, but what this video is all about is IDW. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to File, or the application menu in the top left. You're going to go to New. And then on New, the third row down, there's drawing files, right? And it says annotated documents. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But what you're going to select pltw.idw. Okay, if you don't see this on your computer, what you have to do is you have to go onto our group website and download it so you can open it up. If you have questions about that, ask Mr. Mayor, ask me, raise your hand, I'll come over and help you. All right, but if you have this on your computer, that's great. You hit Project Leeway or pltw IDW, hit create, and it's going to open up a nice sheet drawing, right? But the first thing it's going to ask you is to write your name and scale. Right. For right now, we're going to write our name in all caps. I'm just going to write Mayor. For the scale, we don't really know the scale yet, so we'll add that later. Okay, so I'm going to leave that blank. Hit OK. And you're going to have a nice sheet drawing pop up. Right. So this is similar to like if we're drawing hand drawings, we'd set it up this way, have all the information on the bottom, and you're drawing in the center. Right. Really simple stuff. Okay. First thing I want to let you know about is if you want to edit any of this stuff down here, like date, scale, path, all that kind of stuff, you just go where it says PLTW over here. You hit right click on field text and hit edit field text, and it pops up all this stuff that you can edit. So once we add our shapes, we're going to change the scale and we'll add that in that way. Okay. First thing we need to do, we need to put our shape into this drawing. So how we do that, remember in Inventor, if you want to do something, you start at the top left. Top left, you see it says base. What this is just setting a view in this sheet. So we're going to hit base. The dialog window is going to pop up, and notice that my shape automatically pops up. The reason my shape automatically pops up is because I have it already open in another window. All right, so if you go down the bottom left here, you notice that I have drawing 1 and number 9 open. If you didn't have it open already, you could just go to this file folder right here, open it up, and you can select what you want to add in there. Okay, but we don't need to do that right now because we already have it open. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our views for a multi-view. All right. When you place your views for a multi-view, you got to decide what the front view is. You know, the front view shows them usually the longest dimension, shows the most detail. So this right here would be considered to be our front view. All right. So before we change this, or before we do anything to this, on the left side in this dialog box, I want to show you a couple things. On the bottom right here, you have scale. If you were to hit that drop-down menu, you can change the scale and change the size of the shape you want to add, right? Half scale, make it real small. Quarter scale, make it really, really small. Or if you want to make it really big, hit 10:1, that's huge. All right. So what we're going to do, and what I want to show you, is you can even type in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 1.5 scale, so 1.5 scale. And there you go, and I'm going to put it on the bottom left, just like the front view should be. All right, now you should notice that as I bring my mouse around the outside of this shape, these green dotted boxes start popping up. Those are the potential views that I can add in this drawing. So no, you do not have to draw construction lines. No, you do not have to draw object lines. All you got to do is click top view, click, right side view, click, isometric, right? So some of you might be getting a little mad at me that I made you do all that drawing, but if you didn't do all that drawing, you wouldn't know what these things are. All right, so after you do that, you're just gonna hit OK, and you notice you come up with 4 line drawings. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna move these into position, make sure they fit, make them look nice, make sure they all fit on the page. All right, and you can click and move these as you please. All right, so that is the basic way to add simple multi-view and isometric. Now, if we want to change this isometric to make it look really nice, if you double click on this shape right inside that red dotted line, it brings up that dialog box again. What we're going to do is we're going to make this view shaded, and then we're going to add a label to it. So if you go up here where it says style, if you hover over, you can see, oh, hidden line removed, which we're in right now, and then shaded, right? If I click shaded and then I hit OK, it's going to make that view nice and shaded. So if I added a color, it would show the color, right? So double click on this, you want to change something. If we want to go to hidden line, hit OK, you'd see the hidden line back there, but we don't want that because in the isometric, we just want it to be just shaded. Maybe, there we go, hidden line removed. And we're okay, so we're back. All right. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a label. So if you go here to this light bulb, it says toggle label visibility. That's gonna show the label that's written right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna label this thing isometric, so that when it comes up on the sheet drawing, it'll pop up as isometric. So if you hit OK, you see it says isometric, and you can move this around so it doesn't get it doesn't run into any of your other shapes, right? Also, you notice that it says scale 1.5 to 1, right? This is the same scale as the rest of these drawings, so we don't need that. So what you can do is double click on this note right there and just highlight, just like Microsoft Word, backspace where it said scale, hit OK, and you just have the word isometric. So that's what we want to keep there, right? We just want to keep the word isometric there so that people know that that is our isometric drawing. Okay, so that's placing the views. Let's double check our agenda here. All right, we got into placing a view, we scaled them, we changed the appearance. Now, dimensioning. All right, into the stuff that is relatively difficult, all right, but if you know the basic guidelines, it makes it real easy. Okay, so getting right into it, real simple. We go up here on the top left into this tab that says annotate, and then on the top left, you notice that it just says dimension. Click on dimension, and you notice that as you hover over these lines, they start to turn red, right? And you can click on those things. And as you hover over next to my arrow right there, my mouse cursor, you notice that it has a line with arrows, which is a dimension line. All right, so if I want to dimension from this line to that little corner, what I do is I click, and I bring my mouse over here, and I click, and I bring my mouse upward, and there is my dimension. Right? Inventor's kind of cool that if you go a certain distance away, it kind of locks in there, and we want to keep into those locks. So click one more time, and this dialog box pops up. You can just hit edit, dimension when created, just unclick that box and hit OK. It won't happen again. And now you have a dimension here, right? So now if I want the entire length of this thing, I can hit this line, bring this thing up. Now you have your entire length. All right, really, really, really easy. Okay, now if you want, let's say you want the depth of this thing, because in the top view we show depth, right? 1, 2, bring it over to the right. There's my depth. Let's say I want to show height in this side. I want to show the height of this small section and the height of the total shape. I hit line, bring it over to the left. Line, bring it over to the left. All right, this is crazy easy, people. All right, as long as you know the dimensioning guidelines, dimensioning in Autodesk Inventor is crazy easy. Okay, so right now we have a completed sheet drawing. We have a multi-view and isometric that shows if you wanted to create this piece, if you wanted to create this shape, these are the dimensions you need, and this is what you would have to show. Okay, the one thing we are missing, if you look on the bottom on this title block, it says scale. But once again, like I showed you in the beginning, go to Project Lead the Way, hit right click on Edit Field Text, and in here we know that our scale we changed to 1.5:1, so 1.5 to 1. Hit OK, and it adds it right in there, right? And then what you would do now is you hit File, Save As, and you'd save it in the same file folder that you're saving all your shapes, all the pieces that you're making, all 12 shapes. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to do this for all 12 shapes. Now, I'm going to show you something a little different, a little ahead. We're going to kind of go off of the agenda for a second. Okay, you notice that on the left side in the project browser, you know from the other, from the other videos that these things control, or the project browser controls your entire drawing. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this minus sign next to sheet number 1. All right, so if there's sheet number 1, it lends you to think that there can be sheet number 2, sheet number 3, sheet number 4. All right, so you can, when you go back to place views, you can click this icon right here that says new sheet, or you can right click in the project browser and hit new sheet and create another sheet drawing on the same file. All right, so if I hit new sheet, it pops up and once again it asks me for my name, so I type my name in, I hit OK. So now I'm on sheet number 2. So let's say I have, I don't know, 12 shapes that I want to add to drawing files. What I can do now is have 12 different sheets and just continuously add different things. So if I do number 1, maybe, there we go. If I do number 1, I can add these files on here or these things on here, hit OK, and there's my shape number 1. And then I add another sheet. And then I wanted to add shape number 2. It's just the same process over and over and over again, right? Shape number 2, 1, 2, 3, isometric, right? I would dimension all these out the same way I did number 1. Now, what I want to show you is if you add all these sheets, you can rename the sheets. So we know that sheet number 1, if I double click on sheet number 1, it pops back up. Sheet number 1 is number 9 on my 12 shapes. So if I right click sheet number 1 and hit edit sheet, we double check. There we go. And then the sheet name pops up so I can write number 9 and hit OK. And it pops up as number 9. And we know that sheet number 2 was number 1. So I can right click, hit edit sheet, and I could write number 1. Okay. And then I could write on sheet 3, we know this is number 2. Edit sheet, number 2. So you can have all these different sheets that are labeled different things based on what's inside of them. And then when you go to print this or you go to send this file, all these things are all together in one single file, but there's 12 different drawings in one file. Right, so it's kind of cool. And the last thing I want to show you is if you want to just move these, you can just grab it and drag it. Right? Click and drag and move it down. Right, so you have number 1, number 2, and then obviously there'd be number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then number 9. Okay, so at the end of this assignment, at the end of the 12 shapes assignment, you should have, and this should already be turned in, you should have all your 12 shapes and IPTs drawn like this. All 12 shapes drawn like this, submitted into a document, or excuse me, put into a document and submitted, and I should have already showed you that. And then you should have all 12 shapes in one file with 12 different sheets on the left side here, showing all the dimensions, showing the multi-views, and the isometrics. All right, if you have a question, please ask, but this video should have shown you all the things you need to know. All right, so once again, at the end of the 12 shape assignment, you should have all the IPTs done, and you should have all the drawing files, which is this right here, done for all your shapes with dimensions, multi-view, and isometric. All right, that's it.